Big moment, I thought, earlier today with Donald Trump, and he mentioned it out on the campaign trail today as it relates to IVF and what happened in the state of Alabama. Here was the former president just a little while ago. Watch.
We want to make it easier for mothers and fathers to have babies, not harder. You know that. That includes, and you saw this, it was a big deal over the last few days, that includes supporting the availability of fertility treatments like IVF in every state in America.
All right, Chris, talk to me about this. What was the reason for Trump forcefully coming out today like this?
It's been a huge story. The Alabama decision has been enormous, and it goes right to the heart of a general election weakness for Republicans, which is the perception of extremism on abortion. Trump trying to clean that up. It tells you how confident he feels in his victory in South Carolina, that in a state where a lot of people who are conscientious, sincere, profound pro-lifers who are anguished over the question of the destruction of embryos, that Trump feels comfortable to lean into this and say, we're moving into general election mode.
Mick, what'd you make of the former president doing this?
I think Chris is right generally, because it is a general election pitch. That's probably not going to pick up any voters in South Carolina. A lot of folks here believe that embryos are children anyway. If you're a devout Christian, it's part of the faith. But what I was struck by was the demeanor with which he delivered that line. Clearly, you watch Trump speak, you know when he's reading the teleprompter and you know when he's actually speaking. That was clear off the teleprompter, which means this was done on purpose. But I also got the feeling he's not warmed up to this one yet. He was delivering the line because they told him to, but I'm not sure he's really settled on this yet.
Well, look, I'll say one thing that the Democrats have done well with this issue is feed the narrative that Republicans are extremists on abortion. We know that's not the case. You can talk to any number of the former presidential candidates that were running, and they'll tell you that they don't believe that. Republicans are very pro-life. I'm very pro-life, and no one will apologize for that. But we are the party of the family. We are the party that wants to protect children and protect the future.
Now, look, wherever you stand on the abortion issue, we can all agree this has been a political loser for Republicans over the last however many election cycles, especially that we've seen all over the country, and partly why you've seen the Biden campaign jump on this.
And it has been a great motivator for Democratic candidates in special elections, and we've seen it again and again. But I will just remind you that the Republican coalition, one of the motivating parts of the Republican coalition is the pro-life movement. And they've warned Trump before. They warned him in Iowa. They've said several times, I don't think this is going to be that big of a problem for him. But Mick is 100,000,000% right. For people who believe this to be true, that this is life, Donald Trump today is saying, yeah, well, sometimes some lives are different than others.
Here's what the Biden campaign is saying, Max. Give me a break. Donald Trump created this reality. He brags about it. He's running campaign ads on it. He can't run away from his record.
First of all, they're correct. And second of all, this is a gigantic, huge loser for the Republican Party. That's not a partisan statement. That's just fact here. I mean, one door leads to the other. The Roe ruling, then, or the Dobbs ruling, then opens the door to extremist rulings and extremist legislative action all across the country. We all know for a fact that every Republican pollster and consultant and whoever else does not want this campaign to be about choice or abortion or anything else to that effect, or family, because it's a loser. And with rulings like this, you can absolutely ensure that it will continue to be #1 on people's minds.
I have to disagree completely. I mean, that notion is the same thing that the Biden White House is using. It's this idea, fear-mongering, when they're talking about the fact that you're going to lose all your rights to your own body. That is not at all what overturning Roe v. Wade was about. It was about giving the power back to the states. And President Trump is the clear leader for the Republican Party. That's why I'm not surprised at all, as Mick said, that he clearly went off script to make his point known.
We used to do tap dancing like that about the defund the police movement and about open borders and I swear we had 6 sentences that were prepackaged to say it's not about this, it's about that. So this is a loser.
Speaking of tap dancing, you had an interesting moment real quick with Tommy Tuberville, the Republican senator from Alabama on this just the other day.
Yeah, at CPAC, went up to him, asked what he thought about the ruling. At first said it was great. Then when confronted about the issue about women not having access to IVF, it was, oh, well, that's concerning. Do you think an embryo is a child? Yes. Well, what do you think of the ruling? Well, I haven't read it yet. It's a state issue. It's emblematic of how Republicans have been responding to this.
All right, speaking of, thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.